Stop trying to be deep. Some of you don't need another breakthrough. You don't need another late night realization. You don't need another video where you think, this changed my life. What you need is discipline. And I don't want to sound like I'm attacking you. Believe me, I'm not above this at all. I've lived in this countless times. Been the guy who could explain himself perfectly, why I react the way I do, why I shut down, why I push people away, why I even overthink. I understood myself deep enough, but my life didn't change. And that's when I realized something very dangerous. You can understand yourself at a high level and still stay exactly the same. And that's not growth. That's just intellectual comfort. Self-awareness is not self-improvement. A lot of us confuse awareness with progress. And we think because we can name our patterns that we fix them. For example, I avoid conflict because of my childhood, or I struggle with attachment because of my past trauma. I sabotage good things because I'm scared. Okay, yeah, it's a great start, but are you still doing it to this day? Because if the behavior hasn't changed, then the knowledge hasn't either. And it hasn't transformed you. At that point, it's just information. Self-awareness is step one. Again, like I said, but it's not the finish line. Real improvement is when you notice the urge to shut down and instead you stay present, or you feel the impulse to run and instead you stay. You want to defend your ego, but instead you choose humility. And that's real, true growth. Growth, again, is not just explaining your flaws. It's being able to interpret them and interpret yourself. And that's very uncomfortable. It requires effort. Every single day in real time. It requires catching yourself mid-reaction and choosing different words or holding your tongue. And yes, that can be exhausting, which is why most people would rather talk about their patterns than actually break them. Because talking feels productive. Changing feels painful. And I think a lot of people nowadays make pain their personality. I think we've sort of built this culture where being hurt makes you interesting. And there's almost a social award for being broken. The sad captions, the nonchalant guy, the nobody understands me energy, right? And yeah, maybe the pain is real, or the trauma is real. I'm not trying to minimize that. But pain is something that happens to you. It's not your identity. And that's what a lot of people get mixed up. A lot of people hold on to their pain because it explains everything. If I'm hurt, then my reactions make sense, if that makes sense. Or if I'm broken, then I don't have to show up fully. Or if I'm misunderstood, then I don't have to communicate better. Things of that nature. And what that does is pain sort of becomes a shield. But here's the hard truth. If you build your identity around being wounded, healing feels like losing yourself. Because who are you without the struggle? Who are you without the chaos? Who are you if you're just stable? And stability is far from glamorous. A lot of people don't actually want peace. They want the intensity, because intensity feels alive and peace feels boring. But boring is where the power and the true healing process is built. Simply put, healing isn't aesthetic. Social media made healing look cinematic. The soft lighting, the journals, the gym edits, the deep quotes, whatever it is. But real healing looks like discipline. When nobody else is watching, when the camera shuts off, it looks like not texting the person that you know is bad for you. Saying sorry without adding a but at the end. Going to work even when your mood is low. Not posting for validation. Doing the uncomfortable things instead of the familiar ones. It's not emotional every day. Most days it becomes repetitive and boring. There's that word again. But repetition won't be exciting. It will rewire you. You don't need to build a new identity through motivation. The way you build it is through consistency. Nobody films the nights where you choose not to react. Nobody films the mornings that you wake up and don't feel inspired, but move anyway. And again, that's where the change happens. In silence, without the applause. And this is a really big part. You don't need another breakdown. Some of you keep waiting for rock bottom to happen. Like you need to lose one more person, or mess up one more opportunity, have one more dramatic night. I promise you, you don't. You already know what's wrong. You already know the habits that are hurting you. You're just comfortable enough to delay the change. And that's more dangerous than being unaware. Because now it's a choice. You're choosing comfort over growth. And breakdowns feel powerful because they're emotional. But the structure is what actually saves you. And structure looks like a routine, having standards, boundaries, non-negotiables. Structure doesn't care how you feel that day. And that's why it works. Because feelings are unstable, discipline is the exact opposite. And then we get a little bit of the exact opposite. A lot of people sort of get an ego because they're working on themselves. Sometimes the words, "I'm working on myself," also become an identity. Because it sounds mature, it sounds responsible, it sounds evolved. But if you've been working on yourself for years, and again, your actions haven't changed, you're just thinking about growth, not doing it. There's a subtle ego in being the self-aware one, the one who understands psychology, the one who reflects deeply or analyzes everything. But analysis without execution is procrastination in disguise. Actually changing means letting go of those certain friendships, admitting that you were wrong, stopping certain behaviors immediately, becoming less dramatic, becoming more consistent. And that will cost you something. Growth isn't free. It'll cost you comfort. It'll cost you your old identity. And the truth is, your future won't care how deeply you understand yourself. It cares what you do daily. Again, you can know every single reason behind your behavior. But if your habits are the same as they were for last year, for example, you're not evolving. You're just narrating your life. And that's why reflection is so powerful. But again, reflection without action becomes entertainment. You start enjoying the idea of growth more than the discipline of it. And at some point, you have to decide, do I want to be someone who understands himself or someone who controls himself? Because control is power. And here's a secret. I know I've said it 1,000 times, but power isn't loud. It's consistent. Feel your emotions, understand your past, but don't hide inside it, because at some point, you have to stop trying to be deep and start trying to be disciplined. Depth might get you the attention you're looking for, but discipline builds your future, the version of you that you keep talking about becoming. They're not built in captions. They're not built in breakdowns. And they're not built in the late night realizations. They're built in the quiet decisions over and over and over again every single day. So stop trying to be deep. Be better. As always, stay rolly.